What's up, guys? We're back, and if y'all stay in tune with all of the videos and watching them and helping a guy out, you know, not sure if we'll ever get any monetary from it, but we appreciate it because we're trying to bring y'all some content to kind of explain things, help y'all out. Yeah, it's always nice to have somebody to give you some pointers. Anyway, we showed you the tent video. If you didn't see that, you need to check that video out. But what we've done on there, we promised to show the BILSTEIN setup. We got a 3-inch Moto fab on this truck already, and it rides like garbage. And I'm sure a lot of that's kind of got to do with the struts. I don't know when they were put on. I have no idea. I do know we upgraded the upper control arms about 2 years ago, and we went with the rough country, and it's supposed to support like a 3-inch lift or something. I don't know. Anyway, what are we getting at? The ball joints were a problem. Ball joints actually were falling out of this one when we got it, but we didn't know that until we put the Moto fab on and noticed the bottom ball joints for the lower control arm was garbage. So we went with a Moto brand for the bottom. It's greasable fittings and all that good stuff. Anyway, for y'all that know how to do that, good. For the ones that don't, they sell a wonderful ball joint remover at Harbor Freight, and don't cost a whole lot. You don't have to lose any legs or arms to buy it, and you can actually do it in your driveway. Everything we do it here, either on the concrete or, bless y'all didn't see the prior years of in the dirt. Yeah, when you have rocks that you've had to pick out of your shirt and back. Yeah, that's good stuff. But anyway, I'm glad we got a surface now we work on. One day we're gonna finish this carport so we can actually do some good stuff inside. And so what we're gonna do is take the 3-inch Moto fab off block, and we're gonna put in a BILSTEIN 5100 adjustable. We're gonna set it to the max height because we wanna keep what we have on ride height. And I think it's calling like for a 2.8 maybe. We've got two different ones. We've got the ones that go on the 22 around behind me, and we got the ones that goes on these. It's the 4th gen to 5th gen basically. The 4th gen trucks is your classics. If you buy the part number online, you have to watch and make sure that it doesn't have air ride, which that one does not, and it's not a classic, which that one does not. It's a new version of the 5th gen. So there's a lot of controversy. Will the 5th gen fit the 4th, 4th fit the 5th, on and on and on. But for the amount of money, I mean, if it was me, instead of shortchanging trying to find something that somebody's took off, you don't really know what they've, you know, done to it or whatever. You just order the stuff brand new, and Amazon's got tons of, you know, stores that sell this stuff. But basically what we're going to do is shoot it with a tape measure, and I'm just going straight to the ground because this is going to be a apples to apples measurement. So center of the hub to the fender, we're looking about, that's so close to 40 it hurts. So we're actually, let's just be safe and say 39 3/4. I'm gonna say it's really 40, but anyway. So that's where we're sitting right now. We're gonna do the same measurement when we put the BILSTEINs on to see if we gain or lose anything, because I think we got a little bit of droop for the strut that's on this truck, because like I say, it's got a little squeak in it when you hit a bump, bridge lip and stuff like that. It's rough, it's violent. So we've done several of these on different trucks, and the ride's perfect. Got a 22 limited that we done one on, and it rides amazing, just like it did factory. This one rode that way before I put the Moto fabs on, and I'm not knocking Moto fab. It's a cheap way to get your truck up. I think for like 70-80 bucks you can buy the pucks, and you know, half a day for an average guy, you can have them on. But they ride like garbage. Potholes, feel like canyons, and that truck with the Bilsteins, potholes, feel like little bumps in the road. I mean, so that sold me, you know. I was trying to save $1, but I really didn't know if I wanted to keep this truck. As y'all know, we switch trucks pretty often, so just trying different things on. But anyway, we're gonna grab one of the 4th gen and the 5th gen Bilsteins. I'm gonna lay them side by side so that we can look at them, get a good comparison, put a tape on them, just see what's different. And y'all hang on and we'll get that set up. All right, we got the 4th gen and 5th gen unboxed. And for anybody that's wanting to know the part numbers, this is the 5th gen. It's a B8 5100, which is a 24 300872. And that's going to be the part number for the 5th gen without air ride, new body style, 4-wheel drive. So that's that. This is the 4th gen. Same thing, B8 5100, 24-317887. That's gonna be your 4th gen classic 4-wheel drive. So automatically, if we compare them, you can tell a big difference right there. So this is the shock mount, the mount on the bottom, but we automatically see our rings. On the 5th gen, we've got 3, 6, 7 places to put a ring. 4th gen, we've got 5. So you can see the actual top of the stud sticks out a little bit further. If we go base, that's 20.5. That's about 21 inches. So automatically looking at that, I would say uneducated ponder, gander, whatever you want to call it, that a 5th gen on a 4th gen could possibly set it up higher than if you bought the 4th gen Bilstein, because overall I don't really see anything that would prevent that. I mean, yeah, you can tell the threads are different. It's like a metric thread versus a standard, but I mean, you come with a new lock nut, so I don't see what it'd be a big deal. This is the 4th gen. It comes with a little cushiony guy. The 5th gen comes with basically a cap. And you basically have to sit, this thing has, you see these little grooves, the inside of this cap is designed to sit down, and it's kind of like a compression. So you have to pop it down around and seat it. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty much the same hardware that comes with it. You got one nut. This is where your coil rides. This will be this got a flange here that your coil will sit down on top of, but we'll show you all that when we put it on. This one is the same design. I mean, your coil sits there. But it's got a nut and a washer, so I don't see a whole lot of difference. I can see though where personally I wouldn't advise putting a 4th gen on a 5th gen, just for the fact that the travel is not there. You're not going to be able to sit it near as high, but the rings is where your plate sits on top of, and your coil sits here. So basically, this is what's holding your coil on. This is a little guy. So the coil size is most likely different based off of where these positions are. So I wouldn't do it 4th to 5th, but I would. I mean, if I was in a pinch and I found them for 50 bucks, yeah, you know, whatever, $100, I might would give it a shot. If you're a wrench head and just want to get out, you know, mess around. If you're doing this to do it permanent, I don't know if I even try it. I mean, I'm sure there's probably some guys on the internet that's probably done it. If you look hard enough, you'll probably find it. But anyway, for giggles, we bought what we should. We bought the one for the 5th and one for the 4th. So we're gonna get this thing jacked up, get the tire off, kind of give you a little shot of what that consists of, because I know the young guys coming up, you know, they don't know everything. I didn't when I was growing up. It's trial and error. So I mean, you learn that way, you know, turning wrenches. The way I look at it, you take a bolt off, you can put a bolt back. You know, nowadays we have cameras. Just record what you do and take pictures. If you have to, write it down. I mean, you even get some markers and, you know, color markers and paint you a little color that goes with whatever, you know, in sequence 1 2 3 4 5. This is not a really hard job to do. The most dangerous part of it, and you know, y'all do it at your own risk, but these are Harbor Freight specials. They compress the coil, and I've probably got, I don't know, I've probably used these maybe 15 times so far, and I've seen a lot of guys say replace them, you know, after a certain amount of time. I mean, I don't know, it's threads. I've taken them off and looked at the threads. I don't see where anything's trying to buckle or bend. You know, a lot of it's depending on the metal. I mean, they're not bent, so now when you start compressing down on them, they'll tend to give a little bit. They're gonna banana out just a little bit, and you know, maybe that's the sign of the metal weakening. I don't know. But the neat thing about these are you got two. You got one on each side, so it's not taking the brunt force. I've seen some of these as one of these that does all the work. I'm not using those. And you know, it's just like anything else. You can buy a name brand, whatever, but it all depends on what your wallet can handle. And I don't do a whole lot. I mean, it's scattered out. We hadn't done videos on all of them, so those get me by. Probably gonna upgrade, you know, after these two. We'll probably try to get a better set. But like I say, you can do all this with hand tools that you got. I don't have no fancy Mac tool collection or whatever's, you know, popular. This is all Craftsman, the old school wrenches. So anyway, we're gonna get started. The guy behind the camera is gonna probably come out and help me some, so we're gonna set you guys up so y'all can get a kind of a view of what's going on, and we're gonna try to get this knocked out maybe about 3 hours. So we're gonna get back with you shortly, so y'all stay tuned. Fought with the jack for eternity. Yeah, never seen that before. Jacked up, I don't know how many cars or trucks. The jack wants to either go forward, slide off the front diff, or it wants to slide off the back. So there's a little, it's actually the support that holds the,
like that diff, ain't it?
The lower control arms in on the front here. It's got some holes cut out in it. So anyway, the jack finally found a spot to sit. And I know you guys are probably gonna, whatever. Hey, these are jack stands that's made for regular vehicles. So we took a 4x4 treated dock, and we got some weight sitting on top of that. I've used this for I don't know how many years. It always works. I mean, I ain't ever had any trouble with it. So this is just safety. I had a jack fall one time when I was young, and didn't know really what I was doing. So again, this is not to go towards the guys that's been doing this for years or may do it better than me. I don't know, don't really care. Main thing is, I'm here to tell the kids, the young guys, use safety. You know, that may not be the one that the guy down the street uses, but at the end of the day, that right there keeps from crushing your skull. So the jack fails, there's got to be a safety fail somewhere. So the jack stand, I mean, I've got weight setting on it. It's not the whole truck, and there's nothing wrong with the jack. But if it does creep down or drop out, at least that'll keep the truck from coming down and, you know, injuring or killing one of us. So anyway, I know that's kind of common sense for a lot of people, but when you're young, like I used to be, and get in a hurry, and you just want to see the final result, guys, take the extra time to do it safe. So anyway, I know y'all probably wondering what this Bobo jug's for, but this is my handy dandy little brake caliper holder 3000. So we don't want all this good right here being pulled down by gravity's force. So when we take these bolts out, we're going to set this caliper over here so that don't have any kind of tension on these brake lines. We're going to undo this line that goes to the wheel bearing down here that's got its super, whatever they call it, greasing, magical, I don't know. I have no idea. All I know is it's supposed to send pulses to the grease or something that they say that automatically greases your wheel bearing. So anyway, I wouldn't believe it, but I see it. It's on all these vehicles. But anyway, that's loose. We'll take this loose here. What we're gonna do is take the upper loose from the spindle and the CVC shafts instead of another thing. Getting in a hurry, trying to do this without taking the CVC shaft out, I would have highly advised, because of years of doing this, just go ahead and get you a crowbar, and we'll show you in a few minutes where to take it out at up here in the transfer case. It's easy, it just pops right out. We'll take this nut off and this whole shaft comes out. Reason being, point of failure is going to be these boots, CVC boots. I mean, it's rubber. We're working with sharp things. Some of this has burrs. It pinches wrong. The knuckle could slide out, knock a hole in the boot. Seen that I don't know how many times. Just go ahead and take this out. And then we're working with all parts that really you can't tear up. I mean, they're all metal. It's a lot easier just not fighting with it. So anyway, we're going to show you guys what we're doing, not step by step, because it's pretty simple. We have a upper control arm nut, we have a tie rod nut, we have our sway bar links, all this stuff we need to take loose. You have your CVC shaft, your main nut, and for guys that's probably wanting to know that, I always use a 1 3/8. This fits. I'll give it a little tappy with a hammer, but it's one of those point, I don't know, 12, 8, who knows. Anyway, it's got a lot of grabbing, catch power right there. That's what we want. Anyway, this fits a Chevrolet. Thinking about it, I've never put one on a Ford. Ram and Chevys, even that truck. Well, that one don't have the nut. My bad. It was 80 models. Anyway, this 1 3/8 Napa, it fits all these vehicles. I've never had to worry about chasing anything down to fit it, but like I said, take that loose, upper, lower, brake caliper comes off, sway bar links, pop the shaft out, we drop the lower control arm all the way down as far as it'll go, it'll dangle. This will be loose, the upper, and then we'll fish out these 3 Allen bolts, because they're Allen bolts from where we put the kit on. All of our factory stuff's inside from original. But anyway, we'll take that out. Take your lower strut mount, which is down here. You gotta take it out, and then this whole assembly just comes out, and then it will be time to compress these springs, swap the struts, yeah, and then put it all back together again. So y'all stay tuned, and we'll kind of get all this going and give you an update shortly. I know y'all probably wondering what I was just doing. First off, the brake caliper was kind of hung, and that's happened sometimes. There's a ridge right here. Sometimes catches the brake pad, don't want to come off, but popping it with a hammer, I mean on the side here, I just give it a little love tap. You ain't got to beat the snot out of it or nothing. But anyway, it come off, and we took the nut off, and we popped the CVC shaft loose. Best thing to do before you take this loose on the spindle connected to the upper is to take your crowbar, and I don't know if you can see it or not. You get under the truck. The back of this CVC shaft has a seal, so do not push against it. That goes into the diff. Of course, don't hit the wires. But right here, you can fit that crowbar with a big wide tip against the housing of the transfer case, up against that lip, and kind of just gently press it, and you'll feel it release. So it's loose right now. The only thing holding it in is this nut, and once I drop this nut off, the upper goes up, the spindle comes down, and release this so that we can fish that out of there. But what we did, this is usually, most always, 13/16 on this upper control arm nut, where your upper bushing is, ball joint, having a senior moment. Anyway, you take that loose, don't back it all the way off, because this thing is still connected, and at the angle it's kind of, it'll come off and it could pop you, it could hurt you. But I backed the nut off maybe 3 turns, just enough to see a little bit of daylight between the washer down here and the nut. And then I don't beat on the upper control arm or the ball joint. Try not to do that, because you can damage it. This spindle right here, I mean, this is the only place you can really bump it. Of course, they have a tool for this, yes. But do I use it? No. Does this work? Absolutely. Done it several times. If this hammer doesn't work, then you buy Thor's hammer. And if that doesn't work, get another truck, because you got something wrong. Anyway, good old wood chopper 2000 20-pound mallet. It's absolutely gonna, yes, not 2 good whops. I mean, you ain't got to knock the fire out of it, but hey, you want to see it pop loose like this, and then once your nut's loose, and you know it's loose because you see the daylight between where these two mate, take your crowbar. Here's your coil. So your coil, basically, you can stick that crowbar under there like so. You see I have some wiggle room, because if you do it like this, it's still going to come loose. It's not going to be enough to pop you or hurt you, I don't imagine, but it's a surprise, and I don't like surprises. So we press down, get that slack out, so that this is something you can do with your finger. Yeah, see this one? It's pretty stout. This one's a limp noodle.
That's not very good.
So we're gonna look and see if Napa may have a tie rod in. While we're here, we may as well go ahead and knock it off, put a new one on. We're getting it aligned tomorrow anyway, so only problem is today's the 1st. Happy New Year, everybody. So I don't know exactly if we're gonna find one today. If we don't, we may have to pause the appointment, and we can actually go ahead and put all this on, go ahead and get it back together. Those can be changed out pretty pretty easy. You don't really have to take all this loose to do that. You pop it out and it usually comes right out. So push comes to shove, we can just go ahead and replace that maybe tomorrow or something, before we take it to get it aligned. I don't know. We got an early appointment, but I don't see that taking more than 20-30 minutes to swap out. So anyway, just want to show you guys, watch out when you undo this bolt, because it will come loose in a hurry. But we got the CVC shaft, should be a loose, but there again, she's fighting us tooth and nail. Yeah. just kind of swayed it. Sways. Goes the wrong way. So let's take this off before it hits us in the stomach and breaks the rib. I got it. Yeah. All right. So that is popped loose up there. I can see new metal, because what you'll see is brake dust, whatever, built up, and then once you get slid out far enough, you'll see some clean metal, so you know it's loose. There's a little I don't know, it's like a little ring that locks that thing in place. Good stuff. If it don't get on you, it don't love you. So anyway, what we're about to do is go ahead and take the I'm gonna take the sway bar loose, and then I'm gonna disconnect the lower mount to this strut, and we should be good to go to pop that bolt out, and then this thing will swing down further so that we can go ahead and fish that shaft out. But we'll show you all that in just a few minutes. Fellas, if y'all hadn't noticed, this thing has been fighting the entire time. Everything is cold because it's been like in the 30s prior to today. It's like my ears ringing from beating on some metal. Yeah, might need some ear protection, but anyway, who needs to hear that, huh? Okay, so anyway, check my inner fender well 3000. This tool will help you from slicage of the old arm. Are you trying to get these old alien bolts off? Oh my god, we got threads for 10 years. But anyway, this is the last step of the problem. Once we get these off, as y'all can see, that CVC shaft just fought me. But you can look at the end of this and you can see, oh yeah, it's dry as the Sahara Desert. So we cleaned the spline up coming out of the transfer case with a wire brush. We're gonna lube that up real good with some grease when we put that back on, and hopefully, if us or the next guy that owns this rig won't have near as much fight to do. I had to break out Thor's hammer to give it a little jolt, you know, but it's okay, it's all intact. We gotta let the arms rest a minute. You know, I always wondered who invented the Allen bolt. That guy needs to be audited. He's got something wrong. I don't understand the point of an Allen bolt on the top of a strut mount. I mean, it's cosmetically pretty, yes. Who gives a crap? It's 100,000 things sitting over top of it. You think the inner fender really cares how it looks? You know, and I could put an old ratchet-roo on it, which I know they make the ratchet wrenches for everybody that's gonna be negative Nancy out there. Yes, I don't have any of those. Maybe I do. I got something for Christmas, but I don't remember what it was. But anyway, hey, fighting with things keep you young. So every time we come across some Allen bolts, I do a little jig and I'm gonna meet the guy who made them. One day when I don't have anything to do, I'm gonna research that. I'm curious why. Why would you do that? Like a fella was put on the earth to drive another fella crazy. But anyway, you know, it probably would have saved the time of me fighting with this to go and see if I had a ratchet with the right Allen socket. But I kind of like reading directions. I just don't like doing it. So anyway, y'all just stay tuned, and 50 billion 11 years later, maybe we'll get these bolts out and I'll get back with you. Well, as usual, because I don't have a shop and I don't put stuff back where it goes, and I'm probably the first guy to admit that, vice grips, because the Allen bolts are loose, I am going to use the wonderful, best old school, made in USA since 1924, the original vice grip. And as you can see, fellas, all you gotta do is just get it on there, give it a good old, oh yeah, we're going to town. Oh yeah. And you know, I don't really care if the bolt rounds, it's already round. So I'm just making it shinier, right? So I'm not using these bolts over with the new kit. And if the new guy, whoever wants this Moto fab later on, if there's anybody that wants it, hey, if he don't like the shiny pristine I put on the new bolts, then he can go to the old Napper or Tractor Supply and buy himself 3 new bolts. They sell them all day long. And I just simply ain't fighting with this inner fender well anymore. You know, the old inner fender well 3000 up here works pretty well until it slides off and it tries to slice your elbow off, you know. But if you don't have a little bit of blood to go with your sweat and your tears when you're working on things, then you're not doing it right. You got to get that emotional bond. It's a love-hate relationship. You love when it's done, you hate to do it. But not to scare anybody, it's really not that hard of a job. You know, over the years I've developed something. With anything you do, tools is the key. So if you get the right tools to do the job, just like for the jack example, if I had a good set of jack stands, I wouldn't even need the jack, right? But I don't want to put all that weight on those little bitty jack stands. Yeah, if I had a lift, yeah, that's all kinds of things. I wonder what the guy's doing that made vice grips right now. I pretty much know what he's doing. Just kicks back, relaxing. You know why? Because he didn't invent an Allen bolt. I don't know. Idiot. Then invented an Allen wrench. Oh. Swell guy. I hope to meet him one day. So like I say, you get that old vice grip on there and you get her going, baby. It's coming out. Through this whole process, everything just feels tight, you know? It's like, it's just too tight. It just ain't right. Like some of you fellas have seen them other guys walking down the roads with the, you know what I'm talking about. Too tight, just ain't right. I want to keep it a little loose. All right, remove the handy dandy tool. And I would like to say this is my favorite part, but it's not. And for all you guys that's never put on a leveling kit, the original struts, when you put on a leveling kit, require you to rotate the spindle 180 degrees. And it's just something about it when you put it back in. It's just, I don't know, it's just not the right angle. It's just too tight. So when we take this out, our cap, we're going to spin back out 180 degrees, whether or not it matters. I don't think it does because all this is going away. But the bolt holes line up, to me, just a little bit better. But anyway, for all you that haven't been blessed with this problem, this is wonderful. These ears, to get them off over top of this lower control arm, most of the time, I give it the old, yeah, that's going in the wrong spot. Don't be scared to get in here with it now. You know, before I sat on this, and I don't know how I got on there. It's kind of like riding that horse. Everybody says once you do it, you never forget. I forgot. I'm not quite sure. But when all else fails, put your feet in it. I'm not 100% sure this is going to help anything. But we're just too bound up. I just don't know where all the tension come from. Why you gotta be so angry? Can't you just work, you know? Let me give the sway bar a little sway. See if it. Okay, about a little bit of slack right there, so maybe that'll get us what we need. Get this behemoth out of here. So again, I'm gonna put the leg in it. Alright. So, for anybody who's fighting, normally I would have taken sway bar leg completely off. But, like I said, this truck is just, it does not want to come apart. So, we still got the bottom end sitting in where it needs to be. The easiest way to do this is take it loose before you start. Excuse me. Pork chop biscuit. Anyway, I'll take that loose first. That way when you start jacking and moving and everything, it just kind of a little easier to get off. And then they wonder why your gas might suck. Stop putting 300 pounds under the front end. Okay. This is your Moto fab block that I was telling you about. For y'all that don't know, it sits on top of your coil, your strut housing. It uses your factory studs. You basically just orient your orientation on your outside bolt. It looks like a pattern. What we end up with when you take them off, your inside is towards the motor, outside's facing out toward the fender. This is your original factory layout of your bolts. And then when these pucks go on, they set down in here like so, and you flip it. It says in the instructions 180 degrees out. So that faces towards your outer fender, towards the engine. As you can see, that reversed the way it sits. So when we put this thing back in, I'm going to use the bolt holes inside because I'm going to stick it back in like it's supposed to be. If we never put in a leveling kit. But what I was going to show you guys in the old instructions, when you get these kits, it shows you right here. You got 5 rings on the new coil or strut, sorry, and it shows you stock height. This is for your standard suspension. This is a TRX suspension, and I'm not quite sure why this is even on here because in 4th gen, to my knowledge, there wasn't a TRX. So anyway, Not quite sure about that. But anyway, what we're looking at is this column. So the first setting gives you stock. Second one's this. Third's inch 1.4, 2.1, and 2.8. So we're going for the number 5 on the new strut assembly on those Bilsteins, so that we can get a 2.8 ride height. And I don't know, this is supposed to be a 3-inch block, and of course you can't do this. They're going to tell you in the pack, I mean, it's a 2-inch block, as you can see, but in the instructions per Moto Fab, it says it's not true to the measurement. So 2 inches gives you 3-inch ride height. I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, rides like garbage. But like I say, it's a cheap way. If you're not planning on keeping the vehicle, you're gonna trade it in, hey, this would be the best way to go. And leave it for the next guy to fix the problems down the road for the ride. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna compress the spring or coil, I'll use the correct terms, coil, with our tools, and then we're going to take this upper nut off. Actually, we remove this leveling kit first and then do that. So to do the leveling kit, you don't have to compress the coils, but to do the 5100 you do have to compress the coils, just to make that clear. So I can actually unbolt this right now without compressing the coils, and it's never going to hurt anything. That's the one that's your huckleberry right in there. You do not take that loose until you got it compressed and you're good and safe. We can knock a salad out of space with that, and your head and everything else that stands before it. So again, do not take that nut loose until you got it compressed. So we're going to take a small bathroom break, get a guy some high quality H2O. He's feeling a little bit of thirst coming on, so then we're going to get back to it. Y'all stay tuned. Alright, that's off. And as you, well, you may not know, you'll have to keep this top plate. So this is what came on your truck. The new Bilsteins come with a new nut. And in the last one, on the 5th gen I did, they're making this so deep that you had to have a strut. You're supposed to have a strut socket that's specifically made to take this off, where you can put a wrench on here and hold this little deal up top. Another Allen stud, not an Allen socket or Allen bolt, but it's a stud like they put on all this stuff. You have to hold it while you're taking it loose from the top, you know. And a fella hasn't ran into this issue except on the 5th gen. So somewhere amongst all this organized chaos, we have a tool that I made that will fix that. But I don't know if we're gonna need it on this one, because we can get to it here. Unlike the last one that I done, it was deep. This little deal come up here above it and you couldn't get to it. And yeah, well, after a fella was flustered, couldn't find anything at the parts stores, Napa, Advanced, O'Reilly's, AutoZone, none of them have it. So they got it online, but when you need it now, right? So anyway, we're gonna get this compressed. We're gonna get this other one laid out and get it ready to swap over. So y'all stay with us. Okay, so we got our coil compression set up, and basically you just go straight across from each other. I mean, you find you a spot to hook on. I've looked at everything. Like I said, there's nothing broke. No, I mean, I don't see any damage to these. You make sure, you know, nothing looks out of the ordinary. I wouldn't do it if we were missing any kind of threads, and then the end, everything looked okay. So what we're gonna do is start compressing. We're gonna do it about the same across each side. Went a little bit further than I needed to. Reason being, just from experience, those new ones, once we put them on the high setting, we're gonna need extra compression. And I don't feel so bad about compressing these things with the nuts on it. It's a lot easier to feel protected than not, but I'm pretty sure you're going to go a little higher than that. That ain't got us a whole lot to play with, but it's better than nothing. This little booger is usually our problemo, because as you can see, everything's good, and we didn't even lube that up with no PB blaster. So yeah, basically our issue is, and I cut up a good wrench socket for the last one. Basically what you end up having to do, the transmission wrench would be ideal. Goes down in there like so, hook, so you can do your whatever up here. We don't have one at that size. And like I say, the 50 is a little different than this. It's a little bit more of a pain in the behind. But see, you can't get anything down in here, and if you do, you can't get anything up here to hold it. So we made this right here on the 15, and then let me go back to memory. You know, it's getting hard to come by. Okay, update. This is the worst case scenario. The good old Allen head that sticks off of this bolt has threads, and then this part here is an Allen male end, and you have to put something in here and hold it. Well, I made the tool for it, which works, but these things are so rusted, and like all the road grime and everything that you go through sits in there in that thing, and we didn't PB blast them prior to now. Anyway, we got in here bowing up on it, and it snapped. So we have no way of holding this thing because it spins inside this assembly. It'll just spin. It's the rod, this rod that you see here spins in there, so there's nothing to hold that. So I have no other idea rather than, I don't have a acetylene torch, and not too crazy about heating some of that up, because I think it's got a gas in it or something. So that's mark. No. Grinder wheel, my tie bow. Can't really get it in there without cutting some of this, and with that having that pressure on it, that's a no. I don't want to do that. So we slid it up so that I could get a sawzall blade down in here to cut that shaft right below this bump stop that goes on the top. It's a rubber bushing, and it won't come off or go down, so I compressed this down quite a bit so I could get a blade in between there. This blade though is an old one, a shot, and I'm sitting here playing around. I cut on it for a couple minutes, and yeah, you might have could have put the little tab in it, just scratched it. I don't know what kind of metal that is, but we're gonna run down and get another bit or blade and come back, and hopefully we can saw this thing off and get this over with, because we're running out of daylight. got an alignment tomorrow, and we still got another side to do. So we're gonna put some on this other side real quick, and we're gonna run and get this Sawzall blade, and I hope that works. But while we're there, we may grab a large Moto cut-off wheel. I just don't know. It's so tight and everything's right there. I can compress it some more. I'm trying not to compress too much and put that much strain on those tools. We may have to if this don't work, but we're gonna try the Sawzall blade first. So y'all come on, we're gonna go to somewhere. Everything's closed today. It's the first. So, oh yeah, Happy New Year. How happy can it be? Which one?
I don't know. Just get them all.
8th. 18 teeth per each. 24. Okay, I'm gonna go out on a limb and think that the more teeth, the better.
I would assume.
Although it says less than 1/8 of an inch.
The teeth better on that one?
Nah, this one's got more teeth, but I don't know. This is China.
May not be no good then.
No.
Just get D-Walk.
And this is a US of A.
Oh, we should be good then.
Yeah, but the less than the 1/8 inch is for
Oh, yeah.
skin. We don't really. We need this one.
We need something thicker than that then.
I guess we're going to go with this one.
Okay.
That's scared we're gonna take it on.
Yeah. You know.
This one says 1/8 inch to a 1/2 inch. Steel I-beam. Yeah,
That'll work.
it's 1/8 inch. So, all right. So while we're here,
Death wheel? Yeah. Look at all the flavors. Which one you thinking?
well, in the situation that we got, you can't really fish it in there. So I don't really know what flavor would work best. This is what I have now. But I don't know. It'd be nice to have something like this.
I know. Do I have it zip tied to the thing?
Blade for that. You can't put nothing like that on there. You need a good old-fashioned Moto blade.
That's right.
And I don't see one that would work. So, I guess we'll get the little bitty guy. And,
Think that'll work?
Well, this comes in a 2-pack.
So if we break one, we good. Okay.
We'll give it a try.
All right.
All right, guys. We had to go get the saw blade, as y'all seen. It's been a catastrophic day. This thing has fought us. That's what I was telling you. It's rusted. It just don't want to come off. But anyway, what we done, we slid this piston out, this rod that has the threads, enough where I could get that blade in it, in between here and cut. Because you can't stick a cutoff blade in here unless you cut through the coil, and we wasn't gonna try to do that. I don't want to nick anything up, but we got the blade in here just enough so we could chop that off. And this is what we ended up with. Basically, this bushing or cushion, whatever they call it, sits on top of that like that. So we basically sliced it off with what little bit we had here with the blade, and once I got it out, I could take the vice grips.
Vice grips, baby.
Vice grips, y'all.
Yes, sir.
And I pinched it, just barely got a good pinch on it. And then we shot PB Blaster to it, and then the impact, it took the high setting on the Milwaukee. And I mean,
Milwaukee saved the day, baby.
we got kicked off a couple times with it, just didn't do anything. So I forgot I had one more setting on the juice. So I turned the Thunder up on it. That seemed to do the trick. So we have to have this piece to go back on the Bilstein setup. So anyway, long story short, running out of daylight. We're about to put it in express mode and we got to get done. So we're about to assemble all this. And what we're gonna do is take our setting here, and we're gonna put it on
the peak, mate.
We're gonna stick it on the top. And I don't know no better way of doing this. Every time I do these, I just have to kind of, actually, I normally do on my tailgate.
Drop the tailgate down.
It's really important to make sure you get these. I think you just want to push it out a little just to get it started. And just, you want to work it into that next groove. But you want to make sure when you're doing this that when you get it to where you want it, that it's seated, because the whole truck is riding on this. Come on. Oh, for Pete's sake. Work with somebody, please.
There it is.
All right.
There we go.
So we have it locked in. Okay. Now we can start assembly. It's got a little chilly out here since we started this project many hours ago. But hey, that's part of it. That old saying, hard times don't last. Hard people do. I wouldn't have it any other way. So we're setting with a load of the gun, as y'all know. So basically our instructions say, or basically, wrong way. I'm gonna do such a way, like so. All right. And we want to take our current setup. Look at that up just a little bit, but I think it'll be okay. that goes back out the truck. Take all of that garbage off so that we can put all of this on the new one. Washer. That. Okay. Should sit something like so. All right, so now we've done that, and we want to put our cushion back on here, and then our lock nut.
Oh Lord.
I forgot it wasn't attached. And I know it comes with a lock nut, but I just want to put a little dab of blue Loctite on just to make sure that we got a little extra protection. This is not the weld kind, the red. Never get it off again.
That's right.
All right, guys. So we finally got everything together. Your orientation is going to be, just a quick note, the instructions are kind of overwhelming, but if you'll measure, the holes on the truck should be stud to stud 3.5 inches. From here to here, this will be 3.5 inches. But if you get it off, just remember, the pattern in the back is shorter. That's 3.25. So, and if you'll measure under the hood of the truck, or where this mounts, the bracket where these go in, this to this is 3.5. So it'll be 3.5 here, 3.5 here. So, and it's also, this one's oriented, it's got a little point that points out towards the outside. If you look at that, it's different than these. But what you'll do is just line that up down the bottom so that your mount that mounts on the bottom, you want that bolt pointing out dead center, because that's what's going to line up in those holes in the strut housing. So, but anyway, we made a tool. What I was telling you, we're gonna have to do something to get us something a little bit better, because you can torque it, but I mean, you can't like torque it. This is a 19 Harbor Freight deep well socket impact 1/2 inch. I ground it down, and so a 22 millimeter fits it here. And I took a Allen wrench, which I don't remember the size, I'm sorry, and it fits down in the center. What? There it is. Okay, so it sits in the center like that. You can take your 1/4 inch drive with a 6 millimeter socket, and there you go, so that you can tighten it as you need. So we tightened the fire a little while ago with both of us off camera, so that we know it's real tight. The only thing I can say out of doing all these, if you don't get this too tight or tight enough, you'll just hear a little bump when you go over a bump. It's not coming loose, because I mean, you see how many threads is on it, and we put Loctite, and it's got a nylon lock nut. So if for some reason you hear some noise, just check this on here, and you can tighten these up when they're on the vehicle. I don't remember the torque specs on it, but anyway, what we're gonna do is shove this back up in here, because it is getting dark quick. And usually you can find the holes. It's a lot easier. Just like that. It goes right back in the hole and you don't have to fight with it. So you just fish them up here and it gives you enough play. And I had it in the hole, but anyway, that's the point. What you're supposed to do. So, let's see, we're going to need those original studs. Another problem. So, the nuts that came off of our Moto fab, they were new when the pack came. They're brand new lock nuts with nylon rings. These will actually go back on top of this strut after you line it up in the hole. As you can tell, it's gonna be fun when it gets dark. But basically, this is what you do. Get them going there, get them started. Like that. And then we can shove our bolt back up in here. We might be able to budge it, I don't know. Sometimes I have to take another jack and just kind of give it a pump on the bottom down here. And usually pops right in. And sometimes it doesn't want to work. If you can ever get it in the hole, it works pretty well. Screwdriver got it started. Find the right spline, just like that. Our nut. Sit that there. Set in the home position where it should be. You can check that by eyeballing that inner shaft to make sure it don't have any new metal showing. And it should be dirty. I was about to say we're never gonna see that again. But basically, just do this hand tight. We can pop our lines back in where they go on this part of the spindle. Tie rod, like I said, we're running out of daylight. As long as we mark that where it's at, we won't have to have it aligned again. So we'll just let it go tomorrow, have alignment done. We'll chalk it or paint mark it, and then get some of those ordered because today we couldn't find any. Everybody's closed on the 1st, and snatch that off. Another good way is count your teeth. So you'll just do a teeth count, write it down where you don't forget it. You want this nut to stay where it's at. Take this one off, just put your new one on. Good job. Everybody's happy. All right, so put this rubber back on. So that we can get the Good old brake where it's supposed to be. Hopefully it goes back on. We don't have to fight with it. Probably wouldn't hurt. Put some brakes on it. But that'll be another episode, right?
That's right.
Like I say, daylight is leaving us as I speak. And this stuff's not fun when you're out here in the dark. Just gonna keep working that in. I'm gonna grab the impact, knock that center bolt back on. Or nut, I'm sorry. Center nut. Send the thunder. And basically, we're going to snug everything up. I mean, you see the gist of it. Just tighten the brake caliper back up, reverse order. Tighten everything down, and this side will be done. So y'all stay tuned. I know y'all are just tickled to watch me do this again in the dark. But we'll get it. Have to. We got to make our appointment tomorrow. Right?
That's it.
What's up, everybody? We finally got everything done. Got it to alignment shop, the whole 9. So y'all have to overlook our dryer in the background. Sounds like a torch going. Anyway, got the Moto fab off, pucks. Again, this was supposed to be 3-inch lift. It's not a 3-inch block. On their website it says it doesn't measure what it actually lifts the truck or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, these are measuring out maybe, I mean, it's just shy, maybe a 1/16 for being 2 inches. That's supposed to give you 3 inches of ride height. So again, those roll like garbage. I mean, they're a quick fix, whatever. We measured before, off the ground, center of the hub, and we're just about the exact same on both sides. And it's so close to 40 it hurts, and I think that's what we were on the last, on the Moto fabs. My bad. And this one's a little lower than the other for some reason, but what we done, the BILSTEIN, we set it at the top setting, and they're supposed to be a 2.8 inch is what the instruction says. So compared apples to apples, 2.8 is the exact same as the Moto fab, and they claim a 3-inch lift for a stock truck. So that's what you get. I mean, they're basically identical, but the ride is way better. I won't blame everything on the Moto fab, because the truck's got like, I don't know, 125,000 miles on it, and the struts were shot. I mean, I know you can push them in a little bit. They're supposed to go in, you know, with you forcing it down, but these were going down real fast. I mean, like, I could almost push it in with my 2 fingers. So there's no resistance. And then pulling them out is the main thing that you want to look at. We could actually pull the strut part back out. So those are not supposed to be able to come out by hand. I mean, I know they go in with hand pressure, but not pulling them out. And it kind of had a little wobble to them. I don't know, almost like they were, I don't know, they were shot, junk, garbage. Anyway, out with the old and with the new. Got this setting up right. So this truck's done. Got the windows done, got the BILSTEINs done. We got the Bilsteins we showed you guys for the 22 ram, 5th gen. It's supposed to be a 2.6 by the instructions. I do have a 3-inch on it as well, same blocks. And if memory serves me right, with the video we put out on there, I think it was, I have to go back and look. You guys can check me on the install for the 22 pucks. We got it out on our channel also, so we're gonna do this one in the next couple of days. We'll have it up, tearing it out. We'll give you a tear down and then measurements, all that good stuff. So we appreciate everything. You guys subscribing and following us. Stay with us. We'll be doing some work there. We got a few things we're gonna do on the BMW. So again, we're still hunting that motor. You guys, please find us a cheap LS. We don't want junk, but we want something cheap, you know. Not to break a guy's pocket. The old pocketbook is beginning to run dry, but we're gonna try to swap this thing. For everybody that was at Battle last year, that's coming up in May of 2024. We're about 212 miles from Talladega Speedway, so we're going to either drive it or we're talking about trailering it. I don't know which one we're going to do. We may pull a road-worthy old Vice garage out there if he's watching. He was inspired. Just throw the tools and the jack on and let's just go have a good time. So I think that's what we're going to try to do. That makes it better. See if the truck can get there, which hopefully by then we'll have the new motor. But we're gonna have a little convoy going in, so got several people I think that's gonna road trip with us. We're trying to talk them into driving too. So anyway, it'll be a good time for anybody that wants to go. We suggest it because it was a good time at Battle last year down at Mobile at the Battleship. Just tons of cars and trucks. So y'all stay tuned and keep following us, keep subscribing, notifications. And the guy behind the camera, we really appreciate y'all. Thanks.